story pal. Yes, your story pal. Let's read an adventure or a fairy tale. We'll rocket to the moon or around the world we'll sail. You and me. I'm Papa, your story pal. Hi there.
The Three Little Pigs. Once upon a time, there was an old mother pig who had 3 little pigs and not enough food to feed them. So when they were old enough, she gave them each 1 gold piece and said, "I love each of you very much. Now take this money, use your talents and go and create good lives for yourselves." And then she sent them out into the world to seek their fortunes.
Long ago, there was a kind young girl named Ella who lost the mother she adored. Her father remarried a woman with 2 daughters. After the wedding, her father told Ella, "I'm happy I've found someone warm and caring to nurture you while I'm gone." Then he left for his work in faraway kingdoms. The day he left, the stepmother and her daughters showed their true faces. Ella went to sit with them in the sitting room, and the stepmother smiled at her coldly.
"Did you think you'd keep company with us?" There was once a sweet little girl who lived with her father and mother in a house on the edge of the woods. At the other end of the wood was another pretty cottage where her grandma lived. Everybody loved this little girl, especially Grandma, who gave her lots of nice things. Once, Grandma gave her a red cloak with a hood that she always wore, so people called her Little Red Riding Hood. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said, "Put on your red cloak and go and see your Grandma. She has been ill. Take along this basket for her." As he crept around the island known as the Neverland, Peter Pan ticked like a clock swallowed by a crocodile and thought to himself,
"Hook or me this time?"
He crawled to the shore and into the water, swimming towards the pirate ship called the Jolly Roger. On board, the terrible Captain Hook and his crew had captured Peter's friends the Lost Boys, along with John and Michael, and were preparing to make them walk the plank. By walking the plank, I mean that the pirates would force each Lost Boy to walk out on a narrow board until they fell off the side of the ship into the sea. Wendy was tied up with ropes and forced to watch her brothers and the Lost Boys meet their doom.
Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in a sandbank, underneath the root of a very big fir tree.
"Now, my dears,"
said old Mrs. Rabbit one morning,
"you may go into the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Now, run along and don't get into mischief. I'm going out."
Then old Mrs. Rabbit took a basket and her umbrella and went through the wood to the baker's.
Run, run as fast as you can. You'll never catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
Run, run as fast as you can. You'll never catch him. He's the gingerbread man.
I can run away from you. I can.
Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Once upon a time, a family of 3 bears lived together in a cozy cottage in the woods. Baby Bear was a little bear, Mummy Bear was a middle-sized bear, and Daddy Bear was a great big bear. They each had a wooden bowl for their porridge, a tiny bowl for Baby Bear, a medium-sized bowl for Mummy Bear, and a very large bowl for Daddy Bear.
Once upon a time, there were 3 goats by the name of Gruff, who lived in a beautiful mountain land. The littlest one was called Gil, and he stood only as tall as a grown man's knee. His older brother Griff was taller and wider, and lately he had been proudly celebrating the first few hairs on his very own grown-up goat goatee.
A long time ago in England, when thick green woods covered the countryside, there lived the greatest of all heroes, a man named Robin Hood. When Robin was young, the good King Richard ruled England. King Richard loved his people and treated them fairly. He even allowed everyone in his kingdom to hunt the royal deer in his forests.
What's mine is yours. Please, hunt in Sherwood Forest. Feed your families and prosper.
The people loved King Richard in return. Unfortunately, a great war forced Richard to lead his armies to distant lands. While he was away, his younger brother, Prince John, took the throne. As a prince, John was sly, weak, and cowardly.
Once upon a time, a little chicken named Chicken Little was pecking around the farmyard. She was a nervous little bird and easily excitable. She was always yelping in fright from even small surprises, and a single thing wrong would ruffle her feathers for days. So perhaps it isn't all that surprising what happened to her that sunny spring morning. She was alone, happily scratching in the dirt under the old oak tree, hunting for worms.
Scratch, 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 digging up some worms. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Oh, how they squirm.
Jacob lived on a tiny farm with his wife, Ruth, and their 8 children.
Ugh, enough already.
Jacob, are you okay?
No, Ruth annoys the kids. Why is our life so terrible?
Terrible? Jacob, what is so terrible?
Long ago, there lived a king and queen who often said to each other,
If only we had a child.
but they never did. After years of pining, the once cheerful queen would sometimes go to the pond to bathe alone and cry. On one of these days, to the queen's surprise, a frog hopped out of the water and said,
Do not cry, my queen. Your wish shall be fulfilled. Before a year has gone by, you will have a daughter.
The queen hardly dared to hope, but soon the frog's words came true, and the queen had a little girl. The royal couple were overjoyed. The Frog Prince. One fine evening, a young princess put on her cape and boots and went out to take a walk in the woods. When she came to a cool spring of water, she sat down to rest for a while. The princess had a golden ball in her hand, which was her favorite plaything. She was always throwing it up into the air and catching it again as it fell. After a while, she threw it up so high that she missed catching it. The ball bounced away and rolled along the ground until at last it fell down into the water. The princess looked into the spring for her ball, but it was very deep, so deep that she could not see the bottom. Then she began to cry.
Early one morning, on a lonely wheat farm, a young woman woke and went looking for her husband. She found him feeding chickens in their pen, beside their neighbour's garden wall.
I can finally say it's certain, husband. We're going to have a baby.
I knew it! Oh, I love you! What a happy day!
The couple did not know that on the other side of the stone wall lurked the evil witch, Dame Gothel.
Once upon a time, there was a young boy named Jack who slayed the mightiest giant in the land. He didn't use a sword or a lance. He didn't use armor or fire. He used an old rusty axe, 3 magic beans, and the wild, reckless courage that all young boys and girls seem to have so much of.
The world of dinosaurs. Maybe you've seen dinosaur bones in a book or in a museum. Scientists called paleontologists use bones and fossils they find in the ground to help them understand what dinosaurs looked like a long time ago. It's like solving a puzzle or a riddle. One important tool a paleontologist uses to solve a puzzle is his or her imagination. Having a good imagination is useful and fun. In this story, using your own imagination, you can picture what the world was like during the time of the dinosaurs, just like a paleontologist.
This myth takes us back more than 2,000 years to ancient Greece. It is a timeless adventure story of wars and warriors, heroes and monsters, love and bravery. And at the centre of it all lurks the Minotaur. The Minotaur was a terrible beast, a 10-foot-tall giant with the body of a man and the head of a fearsome bull. His eyes glowed red, his body was thickly muscled, and when he roared it sounded like this.
All the colors of the rainbow are so beautiful to see. All the colors of the rainbow are smiling back at me. There's every single day of the week I like to sing a song. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Old MacDonald